quotes wisdom, where the pursuit of knowledge and the exploration of wisdom converge. Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. Dare to know. Have courage to use your own reason. Act only according to that maxim, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. Science is organized knowledge. Wisdom is organized life. Two things fill the mind with ever-increasing wonder and awe. The more often and the more intensely the mind of thought is drawn to them. The starry heavens above me, and the moral law within me. Morality is not the doctrine of how we may make ourselves happy, but how we may make ourselves worthy of happiness. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks of doing so. Always recognize that human individuals are ends, and do not use them as mere means to your ends. Seek not the favor of the multitude. It is seldom got by honest and lawful means. But seek the testimony of few. And number not voices, but weigh them. Out of timber so crooked as that from which man is made, nothing entirely straight can be carved. Enlightenment is man's emergence from his self-imposed knowledge. I had to deny knowledge in order to make room for faith. All our knowledge begins with the senses, proceeds then to the understanding, and ends with reason. There is nothing higher than reason. Happiness is not an ideal of reason, but of imagination. I am not rich. I am not a hero. I am not even a philosopher. He who is cruel to animals becomes hard also in his dealings with men. We can judge the heart of a man by his treatment of animals. It is beyond a doubt that all our knowledge begins with experience. It is not necessary that whilst I live happily, but it is necessary that so long as I live I should live honorably. Rules for happiness. Something to do. Someone to love. Something to hope for. Thoughts without content are empty. Intuitions without concepts are blind. The greatest human concern is to know how to properly fulfill one's obligations to the dead. All the interests of my reason, speculative as well as practical, combine in the three following questions. 1. What can I know? 2. What ought I to do? 3. What may I hope? If man makes himself a worm, he must not complain when he is trodden on. A good will is not merely good in itself, but is also esteemed by others. By a lie, a man, annihilates his dignity as a man. Act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never merely as a means to an end, but always at the same time as an end. A categorical imperative would be one which represented an action as objectively necessary in itself, without reference to any other purpose. Immaturity is the incapacity to use one's intelligence without the guidance of another. The only objects of practical reason are therefore those of good and evil, for by the former is meant an object necessarily desired, according to a principle of reason, by the latter one, necessarily shunned, also according to a principle of reason. All thought must, directly or indirectly, by way of certain characters, relate ultimately to intuitions, and therefore, with us, to sensibility, because in no other way can an object be given to us. Even philosophers will praise war as ennobling mankind, forgetting the Greek who said, "War is bad in that it begets more evil than it kills." A great revolution is never the fault of the people, but of the government. I do not seek, I find. Laws alone cannot secure freedom of expression. In order that every man may present his views without penalty, there must be a spirit of tolerance in the entire population. The feeling of pleasure and displeasure belongs to the sensuous nature, but reason is to decide on good and evil. Ingratitude is the essence of vileness. Intuition and concepts constitute the elements of all our knowledge, so that neither concepts without an intuition in some way corresponding to them, nor intuition without concepts, can yield knowledge.